The audacity of softness, when survival becomes a choice, not a sentence. Welcome to Soft Girl Era, the sacred pause where strong Black women unlearn survival and rediscover softness. I'm your host, LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French. And I'm your guide from burnout to boundaries, from doing to being, from strong to soft, and loving every second of it. I recently had the profound privilege of sitting down with April McVay, a woman whose story will shake you awake, inspire you to tears, and remind you that no statistic, no label, no conviction can write the final chapter of your life. April is a living testament to what happens when faith meets fire, when resilience refuses to quit, and when showing up becomes the most radical act of rebellion. She's a teen mom turned single mother turned business owner twice over who's been through hell and came out holding her head high, her faith intact, and her future blazing. And today I'm sharing the insights from that conversation with you. Because what April taught me, what she's living out loud every single day, is something we all need to hear, feel, and embody. You know what nobody tells you when you're young and the world hands you a label? They don't tell you that label's temporary. They don't tell you that your story isn't over just because someone decided to write a chapter for you without your permission. They hand you the statistics, the judgments, the side eyes, and they expect you to live small, to stay quiet, to accept that this is just how it is, to shrink into the shadows and make peace with limitation. But here's the truth, the one April McVay embodies with every breath, every step, every choice. Resilience is power. And I don't mean the kind of resilience that just survives, that merely endures. I mean the kind that rises, that rebuilds, that refuses to let the world's limitations become your reality. I mean the kind that looks adversity in the face and says, not today, not ever. April's journey started as a teen mom, single, navigating motherhood while the world whispered that she wouldn't make it, that she'd become another statistic, another cautionary tale. And then, years later, she faced something even heavier, a criminal conviction for what should have been self defense, a felony, a label that could have crushed her spirit, closed every door, and convinced her that her life was over before it truly began. But it didn't. 20 years in, April has opened two businesses and kept going. Not because it was easy, not because the odds were in her favor, not because anyone believed in her or rolled out the red carpet, but because she chose faith over fear. She chose to show up, even when showing up felt impossible, even when every voice around her said to quit. And that's where the magic lives, in that choice. Let me tell you about a woman named Louisa Joe. She walked away from a demanding tech job with nothing but a dream and a whole lot of doubt. No entrepreneurial role models, no clear business idea, no roadmap, just self doubt, uncertainty, and a world that wasn't exactly rolling out the red carpet for women like her, women of color trying to carve out space in industries that weren't built with them in mind. But Louisa leaned into her unique experiences. She did the market research. She started small with coaching, building social proof one client at a time, reinvesting every single dollar back into her business. She failed. She pivoted. She failed again. She got back up. And within a year, she hit over $1 million in revenue. $1 million. Louisa's story isn't just about money, though. It's about what happens when you refuse to let fear write your future. It's about resilience, the kind that says, I don't care how many times I fail, I'm going to find my footing. And she did. She built a seven-figure business, launched a signature course, and now empowers thousands of women to follow her path, to believe that they too can rise. That's what resilience looks like. It's not pretty, it's not perfect, it's messy, it's hard, it's exhausting, but it's powerful, it's transformative. It's the difference between existing and truly living. And here's the thing, resilience isn't just about bouncing back, it's about redefining your narrative. It's about looking at the statistics stacked against you: teen motherhood, single parenthood, a criminal conviction, systemic barriers, discrimination, and saying that's not the end of my story. That's just the beginning. That's the plot twist, not the conclusion. April McVay knows this. Louisa Joe knows this. And the Black entrepreneurs honored by the EY Entrepreneur of the Year program know this too. These are business leaders who faced financial hardship, discrimination, and a lack of access to traditional resources. They bootstrapped their ventures with grit and grace, persevered through systemic obstacles that would have broken lesser spirits, and built companies that now employ hundreds and impact entire communities. They didn't just survive, they thrived. And they did it by choosing resilience over resignation, by refusing to accept the limitations the world tried to impose on them. But resilience alone isn't enough. You need something deeper, something that holds you when the world feels too heavy, when the weight of it all threatens to crush you, something that whispers, keep going, when every logical part of you wants to quit, when giving up seems like the only reasonable option. You need faith, not the kind of faith that's passive or polite, not the kind that waits quietly in the corner, hoping things will get better. I'm talking about the kind of faith that's defiant, the kind that looks fear in the face and says, not today, the kind that chooses belief over doubt, hope over despair, and action over paralysis, the kind that moves mountains, one stubborn step at a time. April McVay chose faith over fear every single day. When the conviction came, when the door slammed shut, when people looked at her differently, when opportunities dried up, she didn't let fear win. She let faith lead. She let faith be her compass, her foundation, her fuel. And that's the shift, isn't it? Fear tells you to stay small, to play it safe, to accept the limitations, to protect yourself from disappointment by never trying. Faith tells you to rise, to risk, to rewrite the rules, to believe that something better is possible even when you can't see it yet. Heather Howell, the CEO of Ruby Red Tea, knows this intimately. As an African American woman trying to break into a male dominated beverage industry, she faced skepticism from investors who didn't believe in her vision, barriers to capital that seemed insurmountable, and a whole lot of people who didn't think she could do it, who thought she should just give up and go home. But Heather leveraged her network, focused relentlessly on product quality, and persisted through every setback, every rejection, every closed door. Today, Ruby Red Tea is available in major retailers nationwide. Heather didn't just build a business, she built a legacy. She became a visible advocate for women of color in business, proving that faith, when paired with action, can move mountains, can open doors, can create opportunities where none existed before. Faith over fear isn't a slogan, it's a strategy. It's the decision to trust yourself in your journey, especially when the odds are stacked against you. It's the choice to believe that your story matters, that your dreams are valid, that your future is worth fighting for, even when no one else sees it. And here's what I learned from April McVay's story: faith isn't about knowing how it's all going to work out, it's about showing up anyway. It's about taking the next step even when you can't see the staircase. It's about believing in the possibility of something better even when the present feels impossible. Which brings me to the third truth, the one that ties everything together, the one that makes all the difference. Showing up matters, not the big, dramatic, Instagram worthy moments that get all the likes and comments. I'm talking about the quiet, consistent, unglamorous act of just being there day after day, week after week, year after year, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, even when no one's watching, when no one's cheering, when the results aren't immediate or obvious. April McVay has been showing up for 20 years through teen motherhood, through single parenthood, through a conviction that could have ended her story. That should have ended her story according to the statistics. Through the launch of not one, but two businesses, through every setback, every obstacle, every moment of doubt, she kept showing up. And that's the secret, isn't it? Consistency, the courage to keep going when no one's watching, when no one's cheering, when the results aren't immediate, when success feels impossibly far away. Louisa Joe didn't build $1 million business overnight. She failed multiple times before finding her niche, before discovering what worked, before the pieces finally fell into place. But she kept showing up. She kept refining. She kept believing. She kept moving forward, even when it felt like she was moving backward. The EY honorees didn't transform their industries in a day, in a month, in a year. They showed up year after year, building, growing, impacting, creating change one decision at a time, one risk at a time, one act of courage at a time. Heather Howell didn't get national distribution by luck or by accident. She showed up, pitched, persisted, and proved her worth over and over again until the world had no choice but to recognize her brilliance, her vision, her power. Showing up is what transforms setbacks into stepping stones. It's what turns survival into success. It's what makes the difference between a dream and a reality, between potential and actualization. And here's the beautiful part, the part that gives me chills every time I think about it. Showing up doesn't require perfection. It doesn't require you to have it all figured out. It just requires presence. It requires you to say, I'm here. I'm trying. I'm not giving up. I'm still in the game. That's the power April McVay embodies. That's the lesson her story teaches. That's the truth we all need to remember, to hold on to live by. So here's what I want you to take away from this conversation with the April McVay, from these stories of women who refuse to let the world define them. First, resilience is power. No matter what statistics are stacked against you, no matter what labels the world tries to pin on you, no matter what obstacles stand in your way, your story is not over. You can rise. You can redefine your narrative. You can reclaim your future. You can write a new ending. Second, faith over fear. Choose to believe in yourself and your journey, especially when the odds are against you, especially when it seems impossible. Let faith be your foundation, your fuel, your guide. Let it carry you when you can't carry yourself. Third, showing up matters. Consistency and courage are what transform setbacks into stepping stones. Keep showing up, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, especially when no one else believes in you. Show up for yourself. And here's what I want you to do, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready, but right now, today, in this moment, take one bold step, just one. Whether it's applying for that job you think you're not qualified for, launching that business you've been dreaming about for years, setting that boundary you've been too afraid to set, or simply showing up for yourself in a way you haven't before. Commit to one action that pushes you beyond your comfort zone and closer to your own Phoenix Rising moment. Because here's the truth that April McVay, Louisa Joe, Heather Howell, and countless other women have proven: you are not defined by your past. You are not limited by your circumstances. You are not confined by the world's expectations, by the statistics, by the labels, by the limitations others try to impose on you. You are resilient. You are faithful. You are powerful. You are worthy. You are enough. In your soft girl era, the one where you choose a softness over survival, rest over hustle, joy over obligation, peace over performance, starts the moment you decide it does. Not when you've earned it, not when you've proven yourself, but right now in this moment, simply because you exist, simply because you're here. April McVay decided. Louisa Joe decided. Heather Howell decided. The EY honorees decided. They chose themselves. They chose their dreams. They chose their futures. Now it's your turn. So take that step. Choose faith over fear. Show up for yourself. Believe in your story and watch what happens when you refuse to let the world write your ending. When you take the pen back and start writing your own chapters, your own narrative, your own truth. Because the world needs what you have. The world needs your voice, your vision, your power, your brilliance, your light. The world needs you to stop playing small and start showing up fully, unapologetically, powerfully. Your story is just getting started and it's going to be magnificent. Not because it will be easy, not because it will be perfect, but because it will be yours, authentically, powerfully, beautifully yours. So go, rise, redefine, reclaim, and remember, you were never meant to just survive. You were meant to thrive. You were meant to soar. You were meant to shine. Now go show the world what happens when a woman decides she's done asking for permission and starts claiming her power. Go be unstoppable.